You are now part of a social experiment.
See now where my limit is. Only got no ohs.
Your mission has been kind of to take your profits and reinsert them back into the non-for-profit portion and to help out the world pretty much gain access to water. And you've traveled to some different places around the world, giving people water. So can you share some of those experiences with us and, your travels, what you've seen in regards to the water and the impact that you bring in the machine had?
Yeah, well, when you go someplace to give water to people, one of the most heartbreaking places I've ever been was Flint. You
And
don't
that's out of the world because you've been to Puerto Rico and some different places, right? That's fascinating.
People were dying in both places because of water. When I got to what was scary about Flint was that the water was so contaminated, so many people had died in the neighborhood, and so many people were still drinking water with lead, and there were so many kids that had brain damage that they couldn't even play. They walked around like little zombies. And I would stand there and I would look around and I would say to myself, this is taking place in the United States, and there's not even a camera team down here filming this. They're not in this neighborhood. They're not seeing these people come out of these basements who've been homeless, who've been drinking water out of one of these pipes for a long time. Their brains were completely destroyed. And you see people walking around like this. And then in Puerto Rico, there were people who were just, their eyes were red, their stomachs were bulging, their gums were swollen. There was just all the stuff that you see. And then once you come in and you start giving people clean water, you get a caregiver syndrome where you kind of don't want to leave. So the degradation and the damage that I've seen that takes place in these places and how easy it is to fix by coming in with a technology that brings clean water, it blew my mind. It's almost like post-traumatic stress. You sit in a place and you see it such an easy fix, but you can't get enough donations. And then even the money I make from my sales of equipment to the military, I take that, I put it back into my foundation so I can go out and do some more good. But right now, it's still a place. There's so many people that need so much help in these places that I've traveled around the world. Right now, it's just, if say I get that kind of money, then what I got to do is I got to train 3 people to take that machine and go there and do the job that I was doing.
Man, that was fascinating. So, what happens when you leave these places, as far as the machine and water goes?
Well, in Puerto Rico, I ran that machine so hard that it had to get scrapped in place. It just got scrapped in place. And then the people that in Flint, that mission was actually got shut down by a man named John Bulmer out of San Antonio, Texas. He's a former business partner, and he saw how much good I was doing in Puerto Rico and how much good I was doing in Flint. So the part that people don't know of what happens in the background of doing this, of this company that I started, this technology that I invented, well, people who partnered with me in the past who are no longer part of my process or part of my company, they have actually sued to stop the mission in Puerto Rico, and they've actually sued me twice to stop the port mission in Flint.
Wow.
Incredible, isn't it?
It is, man. It's no matter how much good you're doing, there's always somebody out there that doesn't want you to help people, man. It's crazy.
No, it's I think what it is there's some people out there that just don't want to see you succeed, and there's some people out there that if you do succeed, they get extremely jealous.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I definitely understand that. And speaking of that, like success, and doing these type of things, when you start these type of things, you always get people in the comments like protect him at all costs, and these type of things that people say, and people generally think that there is a heavy level of danger behind trying to solve world problems and trying to just roll up your sleeves and do the work. Do you find that to be accurate to where there is danger involved in this, or is that something that just people don't really have a good concept of?
I don't think people have a good concept of it. That some people have been watching too many movies or been reading too many conspiracy theories. Look, I build equipment for the United States Army Research Laboratory. Okay, I build equipment for the United States military. I'm about to build some machines for the United States Air Force.
Mm.
Uh, no, no, no. No. Here's how you get hurt. It's like right now I need to go into some areas of inner cities to put machines in to try to help and to educate people in the inner city of how to grow their own food, produce their own water, get healthy again, get off the fast food because the junky food is making a junky mind.
Mm.
You know, uh, food companies are destroying the inner city with this food. The most dangerous thing that I could do is take my happy ass and tie the inner city with these kids running around with guns today.
Mm.
Yeah. It's changed a lot in 5 years.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. Even outside the inner city, in different impoverished places around the world, you come in as an American coming in with money and whatever it is, you become a target. Even though you're trying to help, people see it as an opportunity sometimes.
Well, I think we have way too many guns and way too many people with guns that shouldn't even have a driver's license.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know you mentioned working with youth and different things like that. So, what is the mission behind going into different universities and high schools to do work with youth and put them onto what you're trying to do?
Well, I'll tell you right now what I'm doing with the University of Scranton. I've got a meeting coming up with the professors there. The kids there, I can announce it here. I'm building a machine that you can have at your house that'll cost right at the $5,000 mark, somewhere in
Wow.
that range. That's the range I'm trying to stay within. Don't hold me to that, okay? It'll be someplace under 10, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And this is a system that everybody will be commercially able to buy. That'll be extremely high quality. That'll make water, and that system will be designed by the university students from the University of Scranton and any other university who would like to tag on and get onto this and help develop this technology. Well, I've already designed the machine. We're already doing the CAD drawings for it, but then I'm going to get the input from the students and let them do reports on it. Because designing the machines is not hard for me anymore. It's pretty easy, actually.
And let's say that this, becomes, where everybody does and can have access to the machine in their homes. What is the global impact in your view of being able to have that access?
Well, let's see. There's going to be no more lead poisoning with kids. There's going to be no more forever chemicals in your bloodstream from drinking tap water. There's going to be no more pre-fluoridated compounds in your drinking water at home. There's going to be, your sperm count's going to go up. The birth rate might go up. Yeah, the sperm count in the United States is dropping. People are having less children. And part of the reason it's dropping is because of all the toxicity that's in the environment. Part of the reason we have so many birth defects in the United States, so many birth ailments in children, is because of all the chemicals that are in our environment. Nobody wants to say that. Nobody wants to admit that. But that is the reason. We have a very toxic environment. We have toxic food. We have toxic water. We have toxicity everywhere. And you need a pure source of water. You need a clean source of water.
I agree. I hope that, that happens sooner than later. I know
Yeah, well, I'll be done with this I'm designing two machines right now, and I'll be done with the complete design out and production, within the next 90 days. And I'm doing that right now.
That is amazing, man. You're doing some amazing things that, a lot of us complain about things, but not a lot of us roll up our sleeves and try to do the work. And I think when you do that as a Black person, obviously as a Black male, you're going to be facing backlash and just advice, I guess, for future innovators that are Black, from your experience, what advice would you give them, and what are some experiences that you've had to kind of maneuver through and deal with as a Black inventor?
Just kick the door in. Just kick it in. Don't ask for permission. Just go do it. If somebody tells you no, just walk around them. You just have to be so driven to get something done. Do not let anybody tell you that something is impossible. Nothing is impossible. It might be highly improbable, but it's not impossible. And there's no such thing as a problem. There's no problems in the world. There's only opportunities. That's it.
That is powerful. How do you deal with racism and some of the things you mentioned you had to deal with in Texas? Like, how do you psychologically deal with that without focusing on it and allowing that to impact your work?
Well, let me tell you, as a kid, when your feelings get hurt so many times, you kind of become numb to it. As a Black person in the United States, you become numb to the hate that you experience in some places or towns, or you become numb to being the only Black person in the room. You notice it, and I'm sure there's some type of effect that it has on you. I'm sure it's shortening my lifespan in some type of way because it's so negative. But how do I deal with it? I try to surround myself with good, positive people, open-minded, and sometimes you have to search very hard. You have to move manufacturers sometimes. You have to change engineers. You have to change people you deal with in business. You have to do these things to find the right people. But over time, what do they say? The cream rises to the top.
So every day I'm going hard. I'm talking business, bank accounts, and credit cards. And somehow we defeat the odds and making sure that no one starves illegal. All you had to